Hello and welcome. We are discussing PYQs of percentages, and our next theme is successive change. We will understand the meaning of this theme with the help of examples directly. So let's solve some PYQs. So this question says the increase in the price of certain item was 25%. Then the price was decreased by 20% and then again increased by 10%. What is the resultant increase in the price? So try to understand. So do you know what was the price of that article in the beginning? We do not know. And in the end also, we are looking for change in terms of percentages only. So we can solve this question through assumption. We do not know the price of article in the beginning. So let's say price of article in the beginning was 100. Now it is given that it is increased by 25%. So price got increased by 25%, which means if 100 is increasing by 25%, so the final value will be 125% of 100. So 125% of 100 is 125 itself. Okay, 25% increment meaning 100 plus 25. So new value will become 125% of the old value. Now the next statement is then the price. Now we are talking about this price. The price was decreased by 20%. Now this 25%, this 125, not this 100, the very initial price. This 125 is decreased by 20%. Now decreased by 20%. So 100 minus 20 is what? 80. So decrement of 20% meaningly the new value will be only 80% of the previous value. So what is 80% of 125? 80% of 125. So if you know that 80% is 4 by 5. So 4 by 5 of 125 gonna be 100 only. So over here it is 100 again. Now, next, then again the increase is of 10%. Now this 10% increase is on this value, the value that we are getting from this 120. So this 100 is increasing by 10%. If 100 is increasing by 10%, so 10% increment. So 100 plus 10% is 110%. So the final value will be 110% of 100. So 110% of 100 is what? It is 110 itself. Okay. Now, so this is called a successive change. See, when the next change is occurred on the result of the previous change, the next change is occurring on the result of the previous change, then this kind of change is called a successive change. Now, what is the resultant increase in price? So see, in the very beginning, price was 100. In the end, price is 110 only. So net increase from 100 till 110, net increase is only 10 upon this initial value, which is 100 into 100. So net increase from the very beginning till the very end is only 10%. Hence answer is option B. Hence answer is option B. I hope this is clear to everybody. Okay, now we could have solved this question in a single statement also, because we know that successive change is going on. So see, suppose in the very beginning the price was 100, it got increased by 25%. So increment of 25% meaningly 100 plus 25, which is 125. So increment of 25% meaningly the value will become 125% of itself. 125% meaningly 125 upon 100. Now the next change is 20% decrease. So decrease meaningly 100 minus 20, which is 80. So value will become 80% of itself. So into 80 by 80% is 80 by 100. The next is, then again the value has been increased by 10%. So increment of 10%. So 100 plus 10 is 110%. So value will become 110% of itself. 110% meaningly 110 by 100. Now if you solve this, you will get 110 finally. Okay. Why? Because if you know that 125% is nothing but it is 5 upon 4, 80% is nothing but it is 4 upon 5, 110 upon 100 is nothing but it is 11 upon 10. So you will get 110 directly. How come? This 4 cancelled out, this 5 cancelled out, 0 cancelled out. So the value was 100 in the very beginning, it becomes 110 finally. So net change, you can see net change is how much? 10%. So this is called successive change. Kindly make a note of it. Okay, let's move on to the next problem. Next problem is this. It says the price of an article was decreased by 20%. So do you know what was the price of that article in the beginning? No. So let's say price of article in the beginning was 100. It is decreased by 20%. Decrement of 20% meaningly 100 minus 20, which is 80%. So article will become 80% of itself. 80% meaningly 80 by 100. Now, then the new price. So if you read this question completely, you will find out that in this question successive change is going on. That is why we can follow this technique. So 20% decrease. So 100 minus 20. So article will become 80% of itself. 80% meaningly 80 by 100. Now the new price is increased by 25%. Increase by 25%. Increment it is. So 100 plus 25 is what? 125. Since it is successive change, so that is why the article will become 125% of itself. 125% of itself is what? 125 upon 100. Now if you solve this, it will comes out to be equal to 100 again. So your initial value was 100 and your final value is also 100. So you can see from initial to final, no change is present. Hence answer is option A. Right? Now, you could have solved this thing very easily if you know that 80% is nothing. This 80% is nothing but it is 4 upon 5, and this 125 upon 100 is nothing but it is 5 upon 4. 5 cancelled, 4 cancelled, answer is 100. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now there is one more way of there is one more technique through which you can find out this net change. Okay, so for that you need to understand that in this question successive change is going on. So I have told you earlier what is successive change. If the next change is occurring on the result of the previous change, then this kind of change is called successive change. Now, so if in a question successive change is present, then to find out net percentage change, you can apply a formula. That formula is x percent plus y percent plus x into y upon 100%. Now let me explain what this formula is. Over here, this x and y will represent the respective changes. So for this particular question, you can see the first change is of 20% and it is decrement. So value of x will be minus 20%. Then the next change is 25% and it is increment, which means plus 25%. So value of y is plus 25%. Now plus x into y, meaningly minus 20 into positive 25 upon 100. In the end, percentage sign again. So now see this, 20 minus 20 plus 25 becomes 5%. Now this 20 into 25, it becomes 500 upon 100 becomes minus. So it becomes minus 5%, which comes out to be equal to 0%. So this is a shortcut to find out net change in case of successive change. Okay, I hope guys this is clear to you. Please make a note of it. Okay, let's move on to the next problem now. Now this question says a garden increased the area, a gardener increased the area of its rectangular garden by increasing its length 40% and decreasing its width 20%, the area of the new garden. We already know that area of a garden or a rectangular garden is given by length into breadth or width. So in this question, we want to find out change in terms of percentage only. So that is why assumptions will work. Let's say the old length of the garden is 10 and old width of the garden is 20. Right? So old area of the garden will become what? 200. 10 into 20 is what? 200, right? Now, the area has been increased, or sorry, length has been increased by 40%. Okay, if 40% is the increase, so new value will be 40% is the increase. So 100 plus 40 is 140. So new value will be 140% of the old value. What is 140% of 10? What is 140% of 10? 140% of 10 is 14. Okay. Now, next is, and its width has been decreased by 20%. So decrement of 20% is going on. So 100 minus 20 will become 80%. So new value will be 80% of the old value. So what is 80% of 20? 80% of 20 is 16. Now, new length is 14, new width is 16. So what can I say about new area? So 14 into 16, new area will be 224. I hope this is clear. So old area is 200 and new area is 224. We want to find out the change in area, right? So whenever it is not given that this change has to be calculated with respect to what, so in those cases change should be calculated with respect to the initial value. So initially area was 200. So from 200 to 224, there is an increase of 24 in area. So 24 in the numerator into 100. If you solve this, 0, 0 gone, 0, 0 gone, answer is what? 12. So answer is 12%. So area will increase by how much? It will increase by 12%. Okay. So I hope this is clear to you. Now, in this question, we can apply that shortcut of successive change also. How? So do remember why the shortcut is applicable. Because in this question, I know area is equals to length into breadth. Something is being, like length is being changed and width is being changed. Change is happening on the right side of the equality, and change is happening in the length and change is happening in the width, and area is the product of them. So when two things are in product and those two things are being changed, so in these kind of scenarios, again we can apply that formula of successive change. So you know the formula of successive change. For successive change or net change, you know the formula is x plus y plus x into y upon 100, where x and y will represent respective changes. Now, in this question, the first change is 40%. It is what? Increment. So that is why value of x is plus 40. Next change is 20% and it is decrement. So that is why value of y will be minus 20. Plus x is positive 40 and y is minus 20 upon 100. So 40 minus 20, 20 it is, plus it becomes 40 minus 40 into, so it becomes a minus 8. 20 minus 8 is 12. So you can see the net change is what? Net change is 12% only. Hence answer is option B. So I hope guys you have understood these tricks, you have understood these concepts. We'll meet you in the next video. Till then, please take care. Bye bye. Thank you.